Hi, I see that there are 6 people that are signed on already. Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a fun one. I've got tons of photos and I've got some really scary stuff. It's kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show about what you can see in the garden as far as problems, diseases, insects. But I'm going to give you all kinds of neat tricks and neat products to use to protect so you won't have these problems. So I people are signing on, and I'm like Chatty Cathy. I just don't ever stop talking. So I want to tell everybody, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. We didn't send the product list out. It's going out in an email afterwards because we don't want you distracted looking at the paper. Okay, so you'll get that, and it has all the products that I'm talking about, and the SKUs or the ID codes and the price on it. So you'll get that after the you finish the webinar, and then all these webinars. The goal is to have them posted on our YouTube channel, the Chalet YouTube channel, by the end of the day on Fridays. So that's the goal. That's the goal. So I know a lot of people ask if it's recorded, and yes, we're recording all of these. And so I got to make sure my hair looks good and my makeup's just right, because it'll haunt me forever. And we're getting a lot of people signing on. I'm going to repeat that we did not send the list out with the link. We're sending it out afterwards, and mainly because we didn't want you distracted. And I'm going to announce this over and over and over. Starting today, this is the Step into Spring sale for all of our Customer Rewards members. So you can come in from the 12th, which is today, through the 28th of March. And for one purchase, you get to have everything 20% off. And that's anything inside the garden center, also anything in home decor, and also hard goods like containers and like big planters outside. The outdoors isn't open yet, but with a sales staff person, you can walk out and we can look at things. I just realized that I've got a lot of reflection going on in the background. I still have 4 minutes, so I'm going to step away for a minute to close the blinds because I don't like the flashing in the background here. I'll be back, don't worry. Ooh, not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, and the other one is over here. Okay, I'm closing this one too, so you don't see the reflection from the cars driving by. Oh, this one. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's better. All right. Oh, this is much better. We're not seeing those flashing lights. Okay, I'm back, everybody. Happy hands, happy hands. Okay, we've got 15 people. This is wonderful. I'm going to look at this chat and see, but I prefer you to put any questions you have on the question and answer column rather than the chat one. It's easier for me to keep track of that when it's than the chat one. Oh, this is just a fun. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you. Oh, thank you, Joan. That was really nice. So I'm going to close the chat back down, and then here we go. And there. Oh, no. I almost ended the meeting. Okay. How do I close the chat? I did it. Oh, so good. Boy, there's so many times when I'm learning lessons. Oh, and look, it didn't get rid of the reflection. At the top of my head, you can see things reflecting. So that's okay. My PowerPoint's going to keep you totally. The PowerPoint's going to block it. Cool. All right. So let me see, how many people do we have now? 20. Welcome. Let me see. 2 minutes to go. I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the Horticulture Information Specialist here at Chalet. And this is March. That's right, this is March. In April, I'm going to be celebrating 30 years at Chalet. It's April 17th, and I can't believe it. I joke with people saying I started when I was 6. So I wish that was true. I wish that was true. But I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. And I learned this philosophy and this saying from my great aunt Eva. And she always would say, and this is how the saying would go. The saying goes, age may wrinkle the skin, but loss of enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. So I have a lot of enthusiasm. So I don't think I'll ever have a wrinkled soul. So I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky. And I love sharing that enthusiasm with you about plants and products to take care of plants. And let me see, one more minute to go. I have to tell you a little bit of history about this PowerPoint presentation. I actually was asked to do this presentation and put it together for professional landscapers, and they asked me to do this for a trade show. It was in 2020. It was one of the last trade shows that we actually had before COVID set in. It was in February last year, and I was asked to do this presentation to help landscapers. And these are professional, small business owners, to teach them about products that were available on the retail level so that they could tell their customers to use them proactively and preventatively to keep some of the major problems that would come up. And they wanted to know this because then they could focus on what they needed to do most, designing landscapes, planting landscapes, and being done with it, and not having to worry about coming back to take care of the slug damage. Oh my gosh, how do I make sure the rabbits aren't eating everything? What do I do about fertilizing the shrubs, the trees, the flowers, and the lawns? So I put all this together. Oh my gosh, it was a hit. And then I realized, holy smokes, I could train my new staff with this. And then we thought, wow, why don't I share this with our clients? And so that all the wonderful tools, gear, and products that we have that you can use yourself. So with that said, oh, and one more time, let me see how many people we have now. 28, 29, 30. Ooh, everyone's signing in. Welcome, welcome to Chalet's. This is garden essentials and must-haves with gear and tools involved. So there was not a handout that was sent, that the outline wasn't sent with the link. And we did that on purpose because we wanted you to focus on the photos. I'm going to have tons of photos. So I want you to focus on the photos. This list and outline will be sent in an email after the webinar is over, so you can print it up and then bring it here to Chalet and say, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this. And this is really neat because as of today, we started the Step Into Spring sale for Chalet Rewards customers. So from today, the 12th, all the way through the 28th, Chalet Rewards customers are entitled to one purchase, and that whole purchase, and it includes everything in the garden shop, and also all of the home decor area. You can have one purchase, and everything is 20% off. And all you need is your membership. And you come up to the cashier and they say, are you a Chalet Rewards member? And you say, well, yes, I am. My phone number is, and that's, you give your phone number. So happy Step Into Spring sale, everybody. I'll repeat it again so everyone knows about it. And then let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to share the screen. Oh, I don't know if I started the show. Hold on. I have to do this right here. Here we go. Share. And then slideshow. I'm getting better at this, everybody. She says okay, come on. Don't brag about yourself until you get it done. There we go. From the beginning. So I did this spring green background, doesn't that put everybody in the nice? Oh yeah. And as I noticed a question popped up on the question and answer column, please put your questions and answers in that area and I'll answer them at the end. I'll make sure I get them all answered at the end of the season. So one more time, don't forget that this is the start of the Step into Spring sale for Chalet Rewards customers. And it's 20% off a one purchase. And you can come in between now, this is today, and through the 28th of March and really take advantage of that wonderful offer. And it's a way for us to say happy spring to all of our rewards members. We also, the outline is going to be sent to you with all of the products I'm talking about. The outline will be sent in an email after the webinar is finished. So you'll have that. You can also come in, and this list is always at it's in a document holder at the microscope area. We call that the plant clinic desk. So let's get going. Let's get going. Okay. So oh, I went too fast. Hold on. Okay, so now as homeowners, your focus is on the following, these photos. You want beautiful gardens, you want healthy lawns, and you want time to enjoy both of them, meaning you don't want to have to do a lot of work to make them beautiful and healthy. So that's what I'm here to show you today. Okay, now I have the benefit of a microscope, and it's a dissecting scope. It's a 20x, meaning that it would enlarge samples, specimen that come in by 20 times. I have this other fun advantage in that I've got the camera mounted to one of the oculars, and you can see it in the photo to the left. That camera is mounted to the ocular, and so whatever is on the platform is being photographed and put on the screen. So this is a 17-inch screen. So when people bring samples in, they can actually see what I'm seeing under the microscope. And this is a classic disease that we see later in the season when we have high humidity and not a lot of rainfall. It's powdery mildew. And you can see the white stringy portions on there. That's what we call the mycelium. That's the fungus that's growing across the top of the leaf. And this is what it looks like when it just starts. And then this is what the sample looks like. So the sample is pretty big laying there. And I just took a couple of the leaves and put it up to be able to tell exactly what it is. That's probably a quarter to a third of what I do for Chalet is doing the diagnostic work. And I'm such a geek. I love that. It's a good thing I grew up down south because my mother made sure all four of us girls, my three sisters and I, did the right Southern thing. We never went out of the house without any makeup. Our hair always had to be done. But if I had my way, I'd just be the total geek that I am. And I'd wear the big black horn rim glasses instead of contacts. My dad had the big black horn rim glasses. But anyway, it's a good thing my mom got a hold of us early, huh? So this is my really geeky look with my goggles on and my magnifying glass. And I used to do that before I had the microscope. So you can see that's way back then. Okay, so now when you do bring a sample in, if I'm not here, then our staff will bag and tag it. And so you can see the bag is like a wax paper bag or a plastic bag. We put the sample in it, and then the tagging this is kind of my prescription pad, and I diagnose the plant for you. I tell you what the plant is if you don't know what it is, and then I tell you what the control is, and the control or the way to correct it. We focus on an earth-friendly natural. That's also another term for organic. We give you a biological control. That means, if you can fertilize it better or water it better. And then we also have a chemical control. And there are advantages for all three. And so our goal, and the diagnosticians that are here, our goal is to give you the options of all three and let you decide what you want to use in your own garden. And then it also includes the customer's name and then the staff member's name. So this is the example, and so I teach people how to do that. Okay, so now as happy, satisfied homeowners, these are the distractions that you have for your lawn and your gardens. Number 1, insects. Number 2, diseases. Number 3, weeds. Number 4, and man, I almost should put the number 4 up in number 1, rabbits and deer. And then fertilizers, and then the maintenance, maintenance, how to take care of it. And these are examples. I'm going to discuss all of these, throughout the rest of the slides. Well, I'll just do it now. You have the grubs at the top. Those are the grubs that eat the roots of the lawn. And then they also eat roots of trees and shrubs. And these are the larvae of Japanese beetles, and also the annual the June beetles, and then this is the damage, the photo, the series of photos on the right. At the top, you can see when you have serious grub damage, they eat so many roots off that you can lift the carpet up like the carpet up. You can lift the lawn up like it's a loose piece of carpeting. And then when you peel it up and you look down in the soil, and you can see, you can sort of count, if you count more than 12 white grubs per square foot, then that is a sign that there'll be serious damage, enough damage to the lawn that you could lose the lawn. But usually what happens, when you look down, and at the bottom photo, you can see that animals, wildlife that are digging up the lawn looking for the grubs to eat, that's usually what we have the most damage from. And it's from things like skunks and raccoons. And what they will do, they'll dig up your whole lawn looking for the 1 per square foot. So these are the things I'm kind of showing you. And then rabbits. Ooh, rabbits is right in the middle. Rabbits are right in the middle. Deer. This is a classic example of awful deer damage. This is a great set of pots on a patio. And that deer is just up on the patio using that planter pot like it's a salad bowl. And then over to the far left, this is the classic weed that we all hate in our lawn. That's crabgrass. And so there's ways to prevent that. Crabgrass is actually an annual weed, which means it dies every fall when we have the first hard freezes, but it makes millions of seeds. So last year was a heavy crabgrass year. So that means there's tons of seeds in your yard, especially if you have a sunny lawn. So you want to make sure you use a preventative, and I'm going to get to that. I'll talk about that. Okay, so now if you learn these products, it will allow you, number one, to prevent the problems from starting. So you have like a preventative. If you use a fungicide starting April 15 on your trees and shrubs like lilacs and crab apples, you'll prevent getting the powdery mildew. You'll prevent getting the apple scab fungal leaf spot disease. So I'm here to help you understand when to do the applications. Now you'll also be able to repel the wildlife like the rabbits and the deer and the skunks that cause thousands of dollars of damage to our landscape plants. You'll also prevent weeds from getting established or remove weeds. And then you'll also be able to grow and bloom the plants in your garden. Don't you like that verb, bloom the plants? No, get your plants to bloom. And that means understanding which fertilizers to use, which soil amendments to use, and which mulches to use that will help benefit. Now, this is going to be the first Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so I'm going to just show you all these different insects. And these are the ones that are the worst in our landscape. And the ones that are really the worst are the alien ones, like boxwood leaf miner. When I say alien, that means they're not native to here. And they were introduced into our country, and they've moved, like the boxwood leaf miner was introduced on the East Coast, and it moved west, finally got here to the Chicago area. I think it's been about 8 years now, and there's no native predators. So the only way to take care of it is preventative, insecticides. But we've got really good controls. Okay, so I'm not going to read all this list because I'm going to go through this. Now, this is the boxwood leaf miner, and the boxwood leaf miner. If you look down. I thought I had an adult on here. Oh my God, I don't have an adult. All right, well, it looks like a little gnat. It looks like it's a tan colored gnat, and it lays eggs, and then those eggs hatch. And then look at the photo that's up on the upper right-hand side. This came from my good buddy, Joe Boggs, who is an entomologist at Ohio State University. And this is what the larvae do. Now, the lower level, the lower epidermis was peeled off the underside of this boxwood leaf to reveal the larvae that overwintered inside. And they were busy eating all of the mesophyll cells in between the two epidermal layers. And so what happens is when you look at the upper left-hand corner, you'll see those leaves look yellow. They look like they've been winter damaged, but they dehydrate because the insect is eating the tissue out in between the two evergreen leaf surfaces. Now, this is where I get real geeky. When these samples first come in, I can put it in the microscope and see the damage on the photo down on the lower right-hand side. You can see it has those brown spots on it. When it's spotty like that, I know to put it under the microscope, and then I can see the entry holes and the exit holes. A good example of the exit hole is look over on that lower left. You can see how when those larvae pupated and emerged as adults, the fiber around around the body was stuck in the hole, and that usually washes off in rainfall. But I can see the holes underneath the microscope. So when I see that, I know to peel back, and I show the people these larvae. Most people aren't real scientifically detached. They're usually pretty grossed out. But and then in the middle photo, you can see that's the pupa. And usually I see the pupa about mid-April when people bring samples in, and they've been there all winter. And then if we wait 2 to 3 more weeks and I open the leaf up, I see that the pupa have turned into, these are the like the cocoon of the moth. And this is the pupa. You can see the wings forming, and then in another 10 days they'll turn into the adult and come out. All the adults have to do is mate and then lay eggs, and then the whole thing starts over again. So you're going to use a systemic insecticide, and I'll show you which one is the best one to use. This is boxwood psyllid. This is the other insect that we've been dealing with in boxwood for years and years and years and years. And what the psyllid do is, and I have to tell you, I have been doing this 30 years, and last year was the first year I ever saw an adult of the psyllid. So normally we see the larva, and what happens is the adults overwinter under the bud scales all along the stems, and usually about April, when the temperatures get above about 55 degrees on a regular basis, then those adults emerge, and then they walk out, then they lay eggs on the brand new leaves that have formed, and then the larvae start sucking the juices from the inside, and then it causes that leaf to cup up, so it's curved. A lot of people just think that's what boxwoods always look like, but that's not true. And then as they're feeding, you can see up in this upper right-hand picture, you can sort of see a larva, one of the larvae right there. You can see his legs, and then it's got that cottony mass over it that helps protect it and hide it. And so you can use a contact insecticide, but oftentimes it's hard to get it in underneath those curved leaves. So I like to use a systemic drench. It's the Bayer tree and shrub systemic, and you just mix that and pour it right where the trunk goes into the ground. It stays in the plant for 1 full year, and it will take care of the psyllid and also the boxwood leaf miner. Wonderful tools. Okay, and the next insect, oh, this is a bad guy. This just showed up, I think it was just been 4 years now. We had not had this. They've been warning us about this. This is the viburnum leaf beetle. These are the larvae. Now the eggs are laid on the plants right now, and you can see in the bottom picture. Well, no, I'm going to show you a better picture. These are the larvae. This is so scary because once these things hatch, and they hatch usually at the end of April, the last week in April. Once these things hatch, there are so many of them that they can defoliate. That means they'll eat every leaf on the plant in 3 to 5 days. It is frightening. This is the most frightening insect that I've ever experienced in the 40 years I've been doing this. This is a sample that came in. Look at the number of these things. They were covering that cutting that's right in the middle. And then I put it under the microscope, and you can see how many larvae, and they just chewed through the whole stem. They had eaten all the leaves and we're chewing through the stems. It is awful. Now, if you've treated your viburnum, and they like the smooth leaf viburnums best, but they will go to all of them. So you really need to treat your viburnums. And again, use the systemic, which is the Bayer tree and shrub systemic, or the Bonide 12-month systemic insecticide. And if you've treated, if those eggs were laid on the plant, and they're usually on the tips of the branches, and they make these little lesions, and the eggs are all along, and they're usually in the little tiny skinny branches at the ends of the shrubs. It's frightening how I always thought they had to be on thicker branches. But so you really need to protect your viburnum from that. Oh, and here's the adult. And what happens, oh, this is why they're even more evil than I was mentioning. What happens is the larvae come out at the end of April into May. They can strip a whole plant, and then they pupate. When they've done their feeding, they drop to the ground and pupate in the soil. And then 2 months later, so they're done in June, so in July and August, the adults come back out. The adults are smaller than the larvae. So these guys are little tiny things. And then they will eat the new leaves, not as bad as the larvae do, but you'll still see these holes again. And then they die, and they mate, and then lay eggs, and then they die. But awful, awful insect. Okay, another one that we've been dealing with for many years, and we've just dealt with it, is the viburnum crown borer. And this is a clear wing moth. You can see the insect, the adult insect, down in the lower left, and it looks like a wasp, but it's a clear wing moth, and it lays eggs at the base of the shrub. And see the photo here on the lower right. You can see where this plant has been infested for many years, and so the larva is being compared to the size of a penny up on the upper right hand. And what happens is they bore their way in, and you can see the holes where they bored in on the upper, the upper left hand. They bore in, and then they eat all of the vascular system, also known as the cambium. They eat all of that away, and it kills the plant. And little by little, you'll see one branch dying, another branch dying. They come out and then lay eggs in the next series of branches. You can use a systemic. It's not as effective as the systemic is on the other leafing. One of the best things you can do is just a contact insecticide. 8 works really well, and you spray it on the base of the plant in the end of May through June, and that kills the adult as it's laying eggs, or it also kills the larvae as they hatch before they can chew their way in and bore their way into the plant. So okay, here we go. Cottony maple scale. This one fluctuates from year to year to year, and we go back and forth with having really bad seasons. This doesn't show up until, we don't notice it, and people don't notice it until July. But because you don't notice the brown scale attached to the brown bark, and the brown scale is the picture down here on the right hand side. When the females start to lay eggs, then they make this cottony mass that comes out, oozes out from under the scale covering, and that's when people see it, and they'll see it dropped off. But what really makes people notice it is these are insects that suck the juices of the plant. So they have a stylus mouth part. They insert it into the trunk and suck the juices. And so, so you use a systemic insecticide for this. You want them to scale. Oh man, this has been around forever and ever. Again, systemic insecticide, once a year works beautifully. Now we do have a problem in that it can get real crusty on larger stems than an inch in diameter. That's the diameter of my thumb. So you would use a horticultural oil spray now. Now that the temperatures have thawed, spray all the woody areas where the insect is crusted, and then that oil penetrates to and kills them. And then also use a systemic so that any eggs that hatch and the nymphs that crawl out and are sucking the juices of the plant that it will take care of them. I have to move on. Magnolia scale is similar to the cottony maple scale, but it's exclusive to magnolia. And again, a systemic drench, the systemic insecticide, the Bonide or the Bio Advanced. It used to be Bayer Advanced, so it's the Bio Advanced. Now you drench that once a year, that the insects that are sucking the juices get killed, and it takes care of it. The secondary problem that you notice with magnolia scale is the black sooty mold. That's a fungus that feeds on the honeydew, which is the excrement of the insects. So I was going to mention this also about the cottony maple scale. Normally, you start seeing sticky surfaces underneath the tree. People just think that's the sap dripping out of the tree. No, 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 no. It is the excrement of the insect, as they're drinking a lot of high sugar sap, and then their excrement is very high sugary, so it's it gets stickiness over cars and on patios, and so that's usually the sign that people notice first. Now, Japanese beetles, these are the adults of and the adults and the larvae. The adults will eat all the leaves off the plants. They love anything in the Rosaceae family, and then the larvae will eat all the roots out of from underneath the turf or the lawn, and also the landscape plants. So again, systemic drenches really do the trick for these. Okay, all right. And then this is the damage in the lawn. Now, there is a great product that you can use in the lawn to prevent this as well, and it's called GrubEx, and it's a brand new, well, not brand new, it's 5 years. They changed the active ingredient in it, and it's wonderful. It's called chlorantraniliprole. Say that fast 3 times. But it's a new modus operandi. Most insecticides will go after the neurotransmitters, the nerves of the insects. This one goes after, or affects, I shouldn't say goes in, it affects the calcium ports in the muscles. So if an insect is crawling through the chemical that's in the soil, or eating the roots of the plants that have been treated with it, then it ingests this chlorantraniliprole, and it causes all of the calcium ports in the muscles to flood open, and the calcium all floods out, and the insects are totally paralyzed. So it stops the damage right away, and this only affects 6 different insects that are on the label, and it includes chinch bug, oh my God, I'm just blanking on the name of the little moth that, but it affects those, but it doesn't affect humans or animals. And because of that, the USDA doesn't even put any caution labels on the package. It's the only product I think we sell in the store that doesn't have a cautionary label on it. So it's safe to use in lawns where you have pets, and like you have dogs, and if you have kids running barefoot. So it is the coolest, it's the coolest, one of the newest products that is out there. And you can apply it starting as early as April. The other GrubEx, and that's what I don't like about the Scott's company, they use the same product name and they change their active ingredients without telling anybody. They want brand loyalty and product loyalty. But so you have to come to a geek like me to understand the difference in the active ingredients. So the old GrubEx, you couldn't put down until, we said don't put it down till after the week after the 4th of July, so July 14th, because it only lasted 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. And you didn't want it to run out before the grubs were active, because they don't get active here until our soils warm up. So, but the new GrubEx, you can put down as early as April, and it lasts all the way through the whole season. So I love that stuff. I absolutely love it. Oh, there's chinch bug, and chinch bug causes, it almost looks like drought damage, almost looks like brown patch damage. And if and we've been seeing it, it's real active when it gets hot and dry. And guess what's been happening here in the Chicago area the last couple of summers? Hot and dry. Okay, I'm watching my time. I got to move on. Okay, rose slug and bristly rose slug. These are the ones that give damage to the leaves on the roses early in the season. So the rose slug is active in May into June, and the bristly rose slug is a cousin, and it's active in June, July, and August. And it has more than one life cycle, whereas the original rose slug only has one life cycle, or one stage. So the adults have been in the ground beneath your roses all winter, and they'll emerge once the cell warms up and dries out, and then they mate, and then they lay the eggs, and then when those eggs hatch, these larvae, and they have a scraping mouth part, so they scrape the cells off the surfaces of the leaves, and it makes it look like stained glass. And so you got that, that really distinctive pattern. Again, you can spray with a contact insecticide, or I like the Bio Advanced rose and flower spray, or the drench. I like the Bio Advanced all-in-one rose and flower drench. When we say drench, you mix it 2 ounces in a quart of water and pour that quart right where the rose trunk goes into the ground, and it stays in for 6 weeks. So you do that April 15, June 1st, and July 15. And it takes care, it has a fungicide, an insecticide, and a fertilizer in it. It's called all-in-one. That's all you need for the whole season. Okay, and then 2-spotted spider mites. These come around when we get hot and dry. We had a huge outbreak in indoor houseplants, and you can see this is magnified really large. That's probably about a 40x the picture, and you can see the 2 black spots on its back, and they have 8 legs because it's in the spider family. And then you see the stippling in the photo down below, and then you'll see this little fine webbing with some of the frass. Those are the carcasses of the insects that are molting. That's the bottom picture. So, and you have to have a specific a miticide for that. And again, Bio Advanced has a wonderful 3-in-1. It has an insecticide, a fungicide, and the miticide in it. And you have that in a spray form, and you spray it on the leaves, and only 1 surface is necessary, and it stays in for a good 30 days. And then we also have I have to be careful. We don't have a drench. We don't have a drench with a miticide in it. You have to use the spray. Okay, or if you just want to use an Earth Friendly Natural, then you would use a sulfur, something that has a sulfur product in it, but you have to spray all the surfaces. Now, here are the actives to know, the active ingredients. Every product has an AI, active ingredient, on the front label. And, the professionals will talk about what is the AI, but that's active ingredient. So the oldies but are still around, and these are the synthetics. And so there's malathion, carbaryl, which used to be 7, permethrin, which is 8, and then acephate, which is a systemic. You spray it on and it stays in. And then the earth-friendly ones that you can use are Superior Paraffinic Oil, that's the horticultural oil, or you can also use potassium salts with fatty acids. Those are the insecticidal salts. Now the biggest, and I should have put it on here, the biggest, hottest thing on the internet is neem oil, neem oil, neem oil, neem oil. We sell a neem oil derived product, but the problem with neem oil is that it's a very volatile oil. So it's difficult to find and difficult to carry. It has to be refrigerated to keep it fresh. And you never want to use a rancid oil on anything. That's the worst thing you can do. It's the worst thing you can ingest is rancid oil. So you don't use it. So the neem product that we have, and we have a super neem, which I really like, and it's from Bonide, and it's derived from the neem oil. So you get the same repellency that can happen, but it also has a pyrethrin in it, a synthetic pyrethrin that is organically derived. It's not synthetic, it's organically derived. And so it makes it very effective, and you still get the benefit of the neem. Okay, now here are the newer formulations that you should know. Imidacloprid is Merit, and that's the systemic insecticide that you can spray on with a liquid on the leaves, or you can drench at the roots, and it's taken up in the plant and stays in, depending on the potency. If the stronger, it will stay in for 12 months, and not as strong, stays in for 6 weeks as a drench, and as a spray, it can stay on for 30 days. Beta-cyfluthrin, that's a contact insecticide. Talfluvalinate is a systemic miticide, and then lambda-cyhalothrin is a contact spray. Permethrin is a synthetic form of pyrethrin, which is derived from daisy plants. Deltamethrin is really cool. It's a real fun synthetic of a permethrin or a pyrethrin, and they've twisted it all around chemically, but because of that, it has a 4-month residue, and it's this newer formulation, and it's in our household insect control, and it lasts for 4 months, and it has no odor, and it's in a water base, so it's non-staining. And you can spray it wherever you have insects like ants that come in, pavement ants that get into the kitchen. You can spray around the kickboard and then let it dry. And then it lasts for 4 months. And any insect that tries to crawl over the surface gets killed. Okay. And then this is, I was talking about the new GrowBex, chlorantraniliprole. Oh, isn't it fun to see how you all can practice, and we should have a fun, have everybody say that out loud. Okay, so now these are the earth friendly, or it's a newer term than just organic, because there's a lot of things that aren't organic, but are the earth friendly naturals. So use that term when you're looking for that. So clarified extracted neem oil, that's what I was talking about. And then that the active ingredient in the neem is called azadirachtin. Okay, and then potassium salts of fatty acids. That's like an insecticidal soap. Spinosad, that's a really cool new item that was derived. It's derived from the bacteria that are in like rum vats, and then it's like the ooze from it, and it's detrimental to insects, but it's earth friendly natural. So, and then sulfur will take care of mites. They kill mites, and then it also will get rid of any fungal problems. And then copper is great. It's not organic, but it's an abiotic that kills bacteria and fungi. And this company Neudorf came out with a great new version of a copper sulfate. It's called copper octanoate, or copper soap, and it uses 80% less copper, and because it's a soap surface, it covers really well and coats. The tomato and vegetable and the orchard spray are both sulfur and pyrethrin. And over in Europe, that combination is called pyrrole. That's called pyrrole. Okay, and then here are the systemics. So you have the BioAdvanced rose and flower insect spray in a ready-to-use bottle. That means it has the sprayer. We also have the systemic insect spray. It's a hose-in sprayer. And then we also have, this is the systemic insect control. And that active ingredient is acephate. And we've had acephate for many, many years. It's what we call it's hot. It's a hot product, and that you have to be careful if you're using it when temperatures are hot, because it can burn foliage, but it's very effective, and it's not a neonicotinoid. So that's why we still carry it. We still have it around. These are the imidacloprid, or these are the neonicotinoids. But when it's a drench, I think it's a valuable product. And so they're both liquids. The BioAdvanced, or oh my gosh, I have the old Bayer picture. The new label now is BioAdvanced instead of Bayer Advanced, and then the Bonide. And these are both the same active ingredients. You mix these according to the plant. If it's a tree, you use the circumference of the trunk, and that's the number of ounces you mix to a gallon, and then pour it right where the trunk goes into the ground. That's called the root collar. And research shows that 60% of the uptake of the whole root system is at the root collar. So that's what makes this so easy to use. And then for a shrub, you take the height of the shrub, multiply times 3, and that's the number of ounces you use in a gallon of water, and pour it right at the base of the shrub. These are the systemic granules that go into houseplants. You can use this in houseplants. You can also use the larger model. It's designed to be outside if you want to do it on garden plants. And this is imidacloprid again, it takes care of every insect except for spider mites. So, and you measure the size of the plant or the size of the pot. So it's for every 6 inches of pot diameter, and that's 6 inches from here to here. You use 2.5 tablespoons, the big T, not little t, tablespoons. It's in a carrier of vermiculite. and you sprinkle that over the surface, and just before you're going to water. And then when you water, you drizzle the water through all those granules. It dissolves the insecticide, takes it down into the root system, kills insects in the soil, and then the plant absorbs them, and it stays in the plant for 8 weeks, 2 whole months. Really cool. Then I wanted to show you this. People are always looking for earth-friendly naturals or organics. So if you look at the back of any of these products and you see this logo, Neudorf, see it's a sunflower over the Neudorf name. That's the company in Germany that is doing all the research and developing all these products. They came up with the copper octanoate. They invented the Sluggo, the active ingredient in Sluggo, which is iron phosphate. And so they don't want to sell their products. If you were in Europe, you could see labels. You could buy products that were Neudorf products, but they don't want to deal with the EPA here in the United States. So what they do is they sell their active ingredients to all these other companies that we work with. So they sell them to Bonide and Monterey and Bayer and BioAdvanced. And so, and if they've used their product, you can see it on the back of the label. So you know it's earth-friendly natural. Isn't that a cool trick? I love sharing that. And then these are, I talked about these are sulfur and pyrethrin, organically derived pyrethrin in the ready-to-use bottle, the hose-in sprayer, and a concentrate if you want to use your own tank sprayer. But these are all the same thing. I just noticed that the product called Age changed their active ingredients also, just this, I think it's just been this past year, to sulfur and the pyrethrin. So it's in a little small spray bottle. Okay, these were the earth-friendly naturals. Again, the blue bottle is pyrethrin and canola oil. Oh, that's not, I'm sorry, I said this was pyrrole. The pyrethrin and canola oil is pyrrole. That's what in Europe they call that pyrrole. Ooh, I goofed on that. Okay, and then the pink bottle was pyrethrin and sulfur. Okay, and okay, so now diseases, man, I gotta step on it. Okay, fungal leaf blights, fungal stem blights, fungal root rot diseases, fungal turf diseases, and bacterial leaf diseases. These are what we see. And there's not quite as many. The Volucella stem blight, a lot of people think that this is just winter damage on boxwoods. No. And we've been dealing with Volucella, oh my God, as long as I've been doing horticulture here. When I was on staff at the Botanic Garden, that was the first time they really had a serious problem, and it's called boxwood stem blight. And it's Volucella. The big problem is it goes back and forth between Pachysandra, and Pachysandra can get it, and then it gets passed. They're both shade plants, so they get passed back and forth. So you just want to use a good systemic fungicide. And the one that's in the Rose All-in-One has a shrub recommendation, and that is myclobutanil. Immunox is the other one that's very good, and you can use that as a spray. You can either spray the Pachysandra and or the boxwood, and that helps control it. That gets rid of it. Okay, here we go. Okay, cedar apple rust. These are the things that cause the leaf spots on cedar, hawthorns, and quince. They're actually different diseases, but they're called the apple. It's a dual host, so it goes from the apple, the apple, the hawthorn, or quince, and back and forth to the cedar, and it's eastern red cedar. And you can see what the gall looks like on the eastern red cedar. Those are going to be emerging the end of March. And they're really fun. They start out brown, and then when they get active, they look like this orange gooey stuff that, almost looks like an octopus. Those are the spores being released. They land on the newly developing leaves, and then that's when they get inoculated. So if you want to prevent that, we treat the apple, the hawthorns, and the quinces, and we use a systemic fungicide like Immunox, or myclobutanil as a drench. And then that protects the leaves. So if the fungus lands on it, it just dies. It doesn't go anywhere. Now on the hawthorns, and last year we saw it on hawthorns. We saw it on serviceberry too, the serviceberry, and then the fruit gets diseased. So and then on hawthorns they can get these awful gall knots on the wood. So it's not a good one. It's worth protecting. This is Rhizosphaera canker on spruces, and I got I better not talk about this because there's really not a way you can control this. You just have to live with it. So I hate talking about that. Okay, this is powdery mildew on phlox and lilacs. You can control that with a systemic fungicide like Immunox. And then this is apple scab on a crab apple. And again, the best control is Immunox sprayed starting at bud break, just when the buds are starting to open, that's the flower buds. You spray the systemic fungicide on it, and then do it every 2 weeks for 3 times, up to 5 times if we have ever having cold and rainy conditions. And it works, it really works great. It keeps it from getting disease. Now, the problem with that is that the disease shows up later in the summer and people bring a sample in, it's too late to do anything. It's already been inoculated. So it's like prevention, prevention, prevention. Okay, and then this is anthracnose. And wow, for the last 3 springs, we've been getting tons of anthracnose. Everything that could get anthracnose got it. Oaks, ashes, I mean, almost all the woody plants have a version of anthracnose. And then this was on hostas. We saw really, it was about, I think it was about 6 years ago, we had a real bad problem with it on hosta. And so it's still around. So preventative sprays of Immunox, the systemic fungicide, does the trick. This is black spot on roses. Immunox was invented to help roses. So you spray the roses with this. Another trick, if you want to be a little earth-friendly natural, is to take garden sulfur and sprinkle it around the rose plants, a half a cup just on top of the soil, and leave it, and then that keeps the spore from splashing up on the roses. You can also, you know, after the roses start growing, prune off the lower leaves that tend to get inoculated first, and so then it doesn't splash up going higher on the plant. Okay, let's keep going. Diplodia tip light. Unfortunately, I think I've lost an Austrian pine to Diplodia tip light, and it's a fungus that gets in, you know, the spores get released again in April, and they inoculate the new candles, the young tips that are just growing, and then the spore travels down. It travels back along the branch to the trunk of the tree, and can, you know, and really, oh man, I just looked at the time. I'm going to keep tar spot. We see tar spot, no control necessary. It doesn't hurt the plants, and it shows up late in the summer. It's a hot season. There's the systemic fungicides, Immunox, and also infuse. Myclobutanil and propiconazole, active ingredients. Funganil is actually been around for years and years and years. It used to be called Daconil, and it's an excellent contact spray that is used in vegetable gardens. Here's the systemics I was talking about. These are the combos. So you have the all-in-one with the fertilizer, fungicide, and insecticide from BioAdvanced. This Bonide Rose RX Systemic Drench is the same. These are the same, except the Rose RX doesn't have a fertilizer in it. So that's what you use at the end of the season, and then the BioAdvanced you use at the start of the growing season. First, Earth Friendly Naturals, copper soap I talked about, that's copper octanoate. Copper sulfate is in the spray or the dust. And it's hard to use because you have to keep if you make a spray, you have to keep agitating it to keep the particles suspended. And so I like to have people use the copper soap because it's all liquid. And then sulfur, this is elemental sulfur that works as a fungicide or as a miticide. Now the patch diseases of lawns, they inoculate the lawn in May, when we have, the cooler temperatures and we have wetter soils. And then the disease shows up 6 to 8 weeks later. So if you've had patch diseases on your lawn, you want to get the hose-in sprayer of the Immunox and spray starting April, May 15th, May 1st, May 15th, and June 1st, and that will stop it from getting inoculated. And these are the lawn versions of that. And you use that. This is set the hose-in sprayer with the Spectracide brand. All of them are set to spray at 7 ounces per gallon instead of 1 ounce per gallon. So you can't use this on the roses. Now, animal damage. The deer, and they shred, and then look with the rabbits. And I've got so many photos of people finding the damage from the rabbits right now, which is terrible. And then we have secondary wildlife pressure that will dig up the lawns. So we used to always carry Bob-X. This is a great product, but the better one is Plantskeed. Plantskeed is from Finland, and then the name means plant protection. I never say it right, Plantskeed. And there's a granular and a liquid. The liquid is what you want to use to start and spray the plants that are being eaten. And it's not too late to do that now. And, spray that. That offends. It's a blood-based product. The animal senses dead animal. They think they're going to be next. And so but does smell terrible. And it has kind of a dark color because it's blood-based. And so when you first spray it, it'll darken the foliage, but when it dries. You want it to dry for 24 to 48 hours, and it stays on the leaves that are sprayed. Now that we're into wet precipitation, it'll stay on for 60 days. When the precipitation is frozen, it stays on for 90 days. It's one of the most effective. Start with the liquid, spraying the plants that are being eaten. And then you can use the granular and spread it around the edges of the gardens and then around the plants. And then as the animals are coming in looking around for something to eat, they'll smell that smell. And if they've been offended already, then they go someplace else and to eat. Repelsol is another great product that you can rotate these. And that's the best control. So there's a liquid, and we also have a spray bottle. And this is the gallon, and we also have the granule. And these last 60 days. And it doesn't hurt the animals. None of these hurt the animals. They just repel them. They just offend them, and and they just leave. The Repelsol irritates their nasal passages. And makes their mouths water, and they just leave. It stimulates their fight or flight reaction, and they leave. And then we also have liquid fence. We have the deer and rabbit combination. We have the rabbit repellent. If you have a lot of rabbits, you're going to have a lot of baby rabbits, and baby rabbits don't have a sense of smell or taste until they become adolescents. So they'll eat through a lot of the other repellents. But this rabbit repellent has cinnamon in it and also capsaicin. And it burns their mouths, not fire burn, just too hot, spicy burn. And they go someplace else. So, but I also added this just for fun and just for laughter, armadillo repellent. Now, I own property down in Arkansas. My dad lived down there. So I own property. Whenever I go down there, there are a lot of armadillos down there. And the big joke down there is, why did the armadillo cross the road? No, why did the chicken cross the road? And the answer is to prove the armadillo that it can be done, because there's always dead armadillos all over the place. But they'll dig up a whole yard. They'll dig up your garden. So they have a repellent. Don't you love it? Okay, slugs. They're awful, and they eat holes and everything. And they're snails without the shell. And you want to use Sluggo or Sluggo Plus. Sluggo has the iron phosphate, and when I didn't show you on the back of this, but this was invented by Neudorf, and then the Sluggo Plus has the spinosad in, and these are little particles that are made from flour, sugar, and water, and slugs can't resist them, so they eat them, and when they ingest the iron phosphate, it kills their appetite. So it stops the damage immediately. So slugs aren't active until the soil temperatures get above 65. So you don't want to use this until May 15, but get it down May 15 if you've had slug damage, and treat the beds, and then treat out in the edge of the lawn next to where the beds are, because that's where the slugs go at night when they want to get it, in the day when they want to get it out of the sunshine. So these are great. Okay, now proactively, you want to fertilize and get your plants to grow actively. And so the Espoma brand, the Dr. Earth brands are great. We have like the Root and Grow if you've got plants you're just starting, and that has a 4-10-3. So if you've just transplanted something, the 410, and you can also use Biotone Starter. You use one or the other. The Biotone Starter that's up in that blue bag at the top, that actually has mycorrhizae fungi in it, plus a starter fertilizer, but it has to be in the ground next to the root system to work. You cannot apply it after a plant is planted. So if you've planted a plant and didn't do a starter, use the Root and Grow. And Root and Grow is great because it has a 4-10-3 nutrient, so that high phosphorus for root growth, but it also has a rooting hormone in it, endobutyric acid. So we also call it IBA. IBA tells the plant, I want you to use all that phosphorus and make roots. And guess what? The plant does it. It's so cool. Then my favorite liquid fertilizer that we sell is Dynagrow. And this is the Grow, and it's a 795. People say, well, that's pretty low, macros, but what makes it effective, and this is the label from the back, you can see all 11 of the micronutrients that are in there, and they work synergistically to help the plant. It's the best fertilizer that I've used on houseplants in particular in the 40 years I've been doing and working in horticulture. Dr. Earth, I love the Dr. Earth. I've also, Espoma is great. I'll never give up Polytone. But once Dr. Earth came out, oh my goodness, it lasts 60 days. So for busy people, you just do this once every 2 months. It's 1 cup every 10 square feet. And then the fish waste is the source. So you have naturally high levels of calcium, and then it's slow released long-term nutrients. And we have it for tomato and veg. Bud and bloom booster is the best. If you've got stubborn hydrangeas that you want to get to flower, put bud and bloom booster around them May 1st, and then again July 1st. You will be amazed. You'll be amazed. And then the rose and flower is excellent. And I've got rosarians that used to always use rose tone, and they've completely switched over to the Dr. Earth Rose and Flower fertilizer just because of the longevity of it. Here's Espoma. I'll never give up, and we'll never give up on Espoma. What makes Espoma so great, it's a nice balance. It's a 4-3-4. It's great for all the evergreens. It's actually great for all of our landscape plants because our soil is so high in pH. Our soil is 7.2 to 7.6, very alkaline. Or as they say on the East Coast, oh, your soils are too sweet. We want them more acidic. And so there's a 5% sulfur in Hollytone. And so when you spread that, it's 1 cup per foot of branch spread. This is, there's 3 cups in every pound of this. On the Dr. Earth, there's only 2 cups per pound. Okay, so I like to point that out to everybody. But on any of the Espoma, 3 cups per pound, and you're going to use 1 cup per foot of branch spread and put it right on the ground underneath the plants. And oh my God, you can do it as early as, I would wait till April 15, mid-April. A lot of the plants haven't awakened yet, so they're not going to be using a lot of it. So you don't want it to run, wash away in the rain. And then the other wonderful lawn food, my favorite lawn food is the Espoma lawn food. And it's a 1505, when we call it juice. It has a little extra. It's an organically derived, slow release, long-term fertilizer for the lawn. And it's the best one if we want to get someone to transition from a synthetic series of fertilizer for their lawn, like the Scott series. It's synthetic, but I like to equate it to when you give a man a fish, he eats for 1 meal, and you teach him to fish, he feeds himself for life. It's the same thing with Scott's. You have to always keep adding it. It's a great product, but you always add it. And then, but if you want to switch over to organically based, and by doing that, it reduces the amount of disease and the patch diseases you can have. So so you switch to that. What makes this nice is we call it juice. It has a little extra nitrogen, higher than most organically based lawn fertilizers do. So you get that wonderful green up that organic fertilizers for lawns usually don't do. So this is really a great one. I love this. This is the one I use on my lawn, and I have used it for years. Now, weeds, you've got annual weeds, perennial weeds, you've got the weeds in the lawn, planting beds. You want prevention, you want removal, and there's the grassy weeds and broadleaf weeds. Glyphosate or Roundup, the replacements. Roundup, it had a bad rap, but it's still it's a good product. We don't sell it at Chalet because our owner doesn't want to sell it, but so we do have replacements for it. But glyphosate is the active ingredient, and what's interesting about that is once it's in the soil, then what makes these types of non-selective, that means you spray it on any green leaves and it's absorbed by the leaves and it's taken down to kill the roots. When it touches soil, it's completely inactivated and it breaks apart into 8 different amino acids. So it's one of the best things to use if you want to clear an area of weeds without having to dig them all up. Okay, now this one is it's maleic hydrazide, and it's the Natria grass and weed control to take the place of Roundup. Supposedly, it doesn't cause any damage. I actually had problems in my own garden. I only would use this on pavement going forward because I had perennial plants get very damaged. I didn't spray it on them, but I sprayed it around them like I would use a Roundup, and just spray on the soil around them. And Roundup doesn't hurt any plants that are sprayed around unless it gets on the leaves. And I had damage from this, so I'm not fond of this. Here's the maleic hydrazide. This we have in a large size. It's great for pavement, if it's not near other growing plants. And then we also have a non-selective earth-friendly natural that has citric acid and clove oil in it. But you have to reapply this. It doesn't kill the roots, it kills the top, and the plants will regrow every 6 to 8 weeks, and you have to just reapply it. Oh, I'm getting real close on time, you guys. These are the best lawn fertilizer and lawn weed killers. Weed Beater Ultra when our temperatures are cool, and this has got MCPA, Mecaprop, dicamba, and carfentrazone. And then you also chickweed, clover, and oxalis. These are the best. You can spray them on the lawns. It doesn't kill the lawns, but it will kill the weeds. You want to wait till the temperatures are above 40 to use the chickweed, clover, and oxalis. It is actually the best because it kills the like 200 different weeds, and it will kill things like creeping Charlie. It's even on the label, creeping Charlie and wild violets. And that's how they say on the back, not just violets, wild violets. And we have this in a concentrate, and also have in like a ready to use sprayer. And then this is the active ingredient on that. And then this is another earth-friendly natural. It's iron Hedida based, which means that you can spray it on a lawn. It will just kill the broadleaf weeds because the broadleaf weeds are horizontal. So this lays on the surface. When the sun shines on it, it gives it iron toxicity. They turn black and the tops die. With grasses, they're vertical, so it runs down. It doesn't hurt them at all. So this is my choice if I'm going to use a weed killer that's earth-friendly natural. Now there's also pre-emergent controls, preen, and then corn gluten meal, and then Scott's step 1 with mesotrione. Oh, I don't have that one on the picture on here. I'll show you that. And here's the Scott's with Scott's step 1. Mesotrione will kill creeping bent grass, and you can use it on bluegrass lawns and perennial ryegrass lawns. It won't kill those grasses, but it causes the chlorophyll to burn out of the others. It prevents nimblewill. It will actually kill nutsedge and prevent nutsedge from growing. So it is wonderful, and it has a great fertilizer in it. And because it's for seeding, you can use seeds afterwards. You want to wait 2 to 3 weeks to use the seeds, but it has a really high phosphorus, so it helps newly growing plants. Boy, I just looked at the time. I'm running way long, you guys. I'm hoping everyone's staying with me. Okay, now this is a fun, if you have grass growing in rose beds or growing up through ground cover beds, you can use this wonderful product. It's from the Ortho people. It's called Grass Be Gone. And it used to be called Over the Top from the company that invented it initially. And you spray it over the top of plants and it kills the grass that is growing up through it. It is a cool thing. And I love the name on it. The active ingredient is called fluazepop. I just have always loved that name. And this has been around since I was in college. So it's a great one. But don't use it with ornamental grasses because it'll kill the ornamental grasses. Okay, then pruning shears. We have wonderful pruning shears. This is what the new section looks like. And you can see the Coronas, you see the Falcos up in the lot cabinet. And then we have Dram is the company out of Wisconsin that does watering equipment, but their pruners are excellent. And if you want a lower price pruning shear, the larger ones, these are bypass. You always have to have essentials. You have to have a bypass pruning shear. And the larger one will cut up to a 1/2 inch branch. The smaller one only a 1/4 inch, but they come in all these colors. And so great ones, and and take advantage of the sale, especially if you want to start with a Falco pruner. DeWitt garden tools. Oh my God, these are the best. These are the Dutch, the Dutch company makes these. They have European ash handles, very, very sturdy. I love the all of these are pre-sharpened. I love their the Dutch hoe has the pull handle. See the perpendicular handle that's at the base, and this is it's almost 7 feet long. So you can stand upright and push and pull with that pull handle. And then I like the triangle blade. I'm sorry I don't have a picture of it. The triangle, it looks like it's actually more of an octagonal, no, not octagonal. It has sharp edges on all four sides. When you push, you cut the weeds off at the surface, and you pull, you cut the weeds off at the surface. I can do my big bed up in the front in 20 minutes. I love these. I love these. And we're one of the few companies that has the true DeWitt Dutch hoe. The watering equipment, I just had to show the Dram. We have Dram and Gilmore. I only have pictures of the Dram, and they're so wonderfully colored. You have the long watering wands, shorter watering wands. But what's cool about this, look at the thumb drive on it. You push the thumb up and it turns it on. Push it back, it turns it off. And you can do it halfway and have it half on. You have the faucet on and you get out to your garden. That's when you turn it on and turn it off. I love these. These are cool tools. Great for Father's Day gifts. Okay, lawn restoration. I didn't do any photos because I do a whole thing on lawns, but we have the Chalet grass seed, sun and shade. If you don't know exactly what it is, that's the easy way to do it. Sunny, you use 1 pound for if you're overseeding 500 square feet. If you have bare spots, 1 pound for 300 square feet. So there's sun and shade, there's sunny, there's shady. And then we're one of the few people that have the extreme dense shade mix. And it's good for under trees that have surface roots and for real dark shade. It's really great. And then we also have it's called Soil Moist. It's a seed coat, and you can shake the seeds in it and put it out. And it has graphite that helps attract the sunlight and helps warm it up so you get quicker germination on grass seed. And then the seed coat actually helps hold moisture. So you don't have to be as religious about keeping it continually moist. And then there's a cool hand spreader called the Whiz from Scott's. It's battery operated, and you just put your seeds in, turn it on, and it spreads it for you. It's really nice. It's a handheld spreader. And then gloves. Oh, look at our gloves display. This is our new display this year. My favorite are the mud gloves. And I like the ones that have the plasticized coating up over the knuckles, the knuckles. So when you're working with wet soil, your hands don't get wet. But what's neat is it's a cloth inside, so your hands don't get sweaty. And then these can be washed and dried in the washing machine and the dryer. I love these things. You always have to have a hat. Always have to have a hat for sun protection. You know, these are 50 SPF. And we have a couple of brands. We have the Wateroo, and we had they're called Sunday. I love a good hat, and just to protect my hair color, but to also protect me from the sun. And you always have your protection. And then, oh my gosh, I'm at the end. So always know that you can bring your samples in to me as your diagnostician. And then may all of your projects, have flowers and shine like this. And hopefully, using all of our wonderful, recommendations, your garden will look this great, and you won't have to do a lot of work, and you'll have time to enjoy it. So let me get out of the share. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And then I'll pull up the Q&A column. Thanks for hanging with me, everybody. Wow, 45 still. Thank you. You're so good. Okay, here's okay. So we have a question from Sue Rosenbacher. I really like the Chalet member that discussed plant production. I'm not sure about that, but thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. And then, okay, do you have anything to worry about with the cicadas coming in mass this year? Actually, anonymous attendee, they're not going to be here this year. They're in. We're 4 years away for our big 17-year cicada thing. They're going to be as close as Indiana this year. You may have some, but it's not going to be like. But again, we're 4 years away from that. So yeah, there was anyway. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's another from Diane Gregg. What problems do you expect from cicadas? Again, that's not going to happen for 4 years from here. And what the cicadas do is, they actually will when they lay the eggs, they can really damage and the branches. I still have some cool samples from it was 13 years ago that we had it here. Okay, anything to worry about. Cicadas, I'm done with that. Okay, this is Cheryl. And can you use the deltamethrin on your floor for Allen ants? If you have a dog, yes, you can use it. What you do is spray and then let it dry, and then it's not a problem for your dog at all. They don't, they don't pick it up, and I mean, I wouldn't spray it around their food bowl where they're licking the bowl, they're licking the floor if they drop any food, but it's completely safe. And it's this new chemistry in that if it gets into a human's system or their body, it's filtered through the kidneys and it doesn't lodge in the liver like the old organophosphates used to do. Okay, so it's a great product. It's really good. It's really good and very, very effective. I spray it around the outside of my house. I live in Skokie, Evanston, where I have really wet soil, and so when we have heavy wet springs, the ants all try to get in my house. So okay, how do these products affect pollinators? Well, the systemics don't at all. The systemics go in the plant, and then it's only in the green parts of the plant. Pollinators aren't feeding on the green parts, and when you have a flower where my wrist is, there's a membrane between the vegetative parts of the plants and the flowering parts. And it's like the blood-brain barrier that we have in our system that keeps chemicals from going through our bloodstream into our brains. And so the systemic insecticides do not go in the flower parts. That's why when you use these systemic drenches on roses, sometimes people still have problems with the Japanese beetles eating the flower petals because it's not in the petals. So you've asked this one, you ask this one every time, Joan. So thanks for bringing that topic up and keeping me on my toes. Annie, hi Jennifer. How early should I apply Immunox to my Pachysandra? Frequency during season. Okay, you want to start April 15, and then that's going to protect them, and then do it every 2 weeks for 3 times. If it's staying rainy and cold, then do it up to 5 times, and it's every 14 days because it stays in the leaves for 14 days. Now, if you're late getting started, don't worry, because if there's fungus in the leaf and you spray with the active ingredient, myclobutanil, it will kill the fungus in the tissues before it actually can get active, before it's gotten active. So it's a great product. Good question. Okay, now here's another one. Anonymous attendee, is there a repellent that would be the best for containers? Ooh, yeah. Okay. Oh, I can't believe I didn't put this in. It's got a horrible name. It's called Rat Magic, and it's a granular, and you can sprinkle that on the top of the container and on top of the soil, and any insect that tries to dig into it, they do it once and they won't do it again. And because it has oh my God, I'm just forgetting the active ingredient in it. It's the same thing that we used to drink, that grandma used to give us, and it'll come to me. But that's excellent. That and Repulsol is really good for your containers, and it keeps the animals out. Okay, and let's do this. Okay, here we go. This is Eric and Jane. Oh, hi, Eric. Mwah. Okay, on deer and rabbit repellents, do deer and rabbit repellents work as well on squirrels? Oh, well, Eric, what will work well on squirrels is that Rat Magic. And you sprinkle that around, and it keeps the squirrels away. It keeps the squirrels away. It's really good. But the Repulsol and also the plant skeed work on squirrels that are chewing on on plants. So what happens is squirrels will chew flower buds off like rhododendrons. So all the repellents work really well on squirrels. Great question. Okay, and this is Mary B. Do you have a written schedule of when to put down the preventatives? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Send me an email, jenniferb@shalleynursery.com, and I'll send it to you. Okay, great question. Okay, now this is Catherine. Heart Trick. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You must have come on a little late. All of our webinars are recorded, and the goal is to have them posted to our YouTube channel, excuse me, on Friday, at the end of the day on Friday. So go to YouTube, type in channel, Chalet webinars or Chalet, the title, and it'll come right up. And you know, we decided that we should just keep doing that, and people are loving it. Thanks for that question. Okay, and here's and oh, Eric and Jane. Eric, Chalet doesn't have any pansies just yet. We've got some hellebores in. We're looking at maybe getting some pansies next week. We're trying to get them from our growers. So good question. But we had some hellebores, and man, they're going like hotcakes. They're great. Thank you for asking that. Okay, and then Mary B again, are all these products in stock now? Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. They're flying out like crazy, and we're getting them restocked. And so if you don't have them, you know, this weekend, we will be getting them back in because they're on reorder. They're on constant reorder, and we'll have them through the 28th of the month. Okay, so good question. Good question. Okay, now Diane, let me see. Okay, I was going to plant new dwarf double foul viburnums, but after looking at the insect damage, would you recommend a small shrub in place of double foul viburnums? Oh, I hate to do that, but yeah, I can. Are you redoing the summer snowflakes or just doing the double? God, there's nothing beats double foul viburnums. You know what? I would just go ahead and plant them, and then do the systemic drench, you know, from Bayer, from Bonide. It works so well. It controls so well. You know what? I'm going to finish the rest of these questions. I'll come back again, Diane. It's Diana. Okay, and then here's Mimi Morris. Hi, Mimi. Okay, for cedar apple rust or apple scab using Immunox, is there a drench for Immunox rather than a spray that you know must seriously use? Okay, Mimi, what you can do, depending on how tall the trees are, you know, if the trees are small and they're under, you know, 20 feet, even up to 30 feet, you can use the all-in-one rose and flower as the drench, and you use it at 1 ounce per foot of plant height in a gallon of water, and pour it right where the trunk goes in the ground, and plan to do that in the next you know, by the 1st of April, and it stays in 6 weeks, and keep doing it every 6 weeks. It's pretty effective. It's really effective, and that drench is you know is wonderful. But again, you know, the logic behind that is that for small ornamental trees, there's a big argument. Is that really a tree or a large shrub? And a lot of people argue, well, it's just a large shrub. So you can use that product because it's labeled for use on shrubs. So, you know, until they bring it out for trees, you know, you can only use it on small ones. Great question. And okay, here we go, done. And then this is Tanya. And hi, it's webbing on my lawn after the snow is gone. Oh, okay. This is called snow mold. And snow mold actually is a fungus. The lawn will actually outgrow it. Once the temperature goes up, the fungus isn't active. And once you fertilize, then it can outgrow it, you know, to really outgrow it. So give it a really good fertilizer, you know, use the, you know, the Espoma or you know, and get the fertilizer down pretty soon so it can outgrow it. I would say April 15th. And you can also use Immunox lawn fertilizer and spray it just so it doesn't spread. But it's a real temperature reliant disease, and once it warms up, it's totally inactive. And you know, and the plant usually outgrows it. You know, it usually outgrows it. Great question. Okay, here we go. This one and done. And then this is Chalet. Ooh, Chalet. Do you clean and sharpen Felco pruners? Yes, we do. Yes, you bring them in. It's $9.99 to get them cleaned and sharpened, and yes, bring them in. And it usually takes 2 weeks to get them back. Good question. And then, oh, here's another Chalet question. Oh, that was the first one. Oh, I think I canceled one. I'm so sorry. Okay. Mimi again. Can you use rat magic on soil in later fall when planting bulbs? Yes, you can. Great, great question. It works great to keep them away from bulbs. Perfect, perfect. Oh, I love my smart students. You're getting A's all over the board. And then here's Marion again. This was a fantastic presentation. Thank you, Marion. You're so sweet. Much appreciated. Thank you for your explanation and illustrations. Very helpful. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Same to you. And then this is from Sue Rosenbacher. Too early to cut back dead hellebore leaves. I love mine and I fertilize for Oh, and you want a fertilizer for Norfolk. Okay, okay, Susan. The fertilizer for your Norfolk Island pine would be the Dynagrow. That's the best. And one capful, which is half a teaspoon in a gallon, and do that weekly. You know, and then I would wait until you see the new growth on your hellebores. You know, the new active growth. They just emerged out from under the snow, and wait till you see the new growth. And once you see the new growth starting, then you can cut off the winter damaged leaves on the hellebores. Great, 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 great question. And then Diana, I'm going to come back to you. A good replacement for double thou viburnums. To get the size of a double thou viburnum, but you asked for a small shrub. Double thou viburnums are not small. So I was going to suggest that you go with the horizontally branched. Look for any of the dogwood, the Korean dogwood. And oh my God, I'm just blanking on the common name of it. That would give you a similar look with the horizontal branching and the same flowers and the same flowering time as a double thou viburnum. So good questions. Boy, I miss seeing you all. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for your wonderful questions and your wonderful comments. I really appreciate your compliments, and we'll see you next week at the Garden Coach on Thursday morning at 10, and then come in for the Step Into Spring sale between now and March 28th. So thank you all. 30 people still stayed. Oh, you are the best. And I think the 5 questions I had left are the ones I just haven't edited out. And then let me see what the chat is. My chats are over here. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you from Joan Johns. Thank you. Where are the materials? Where are the materials? Huh. They're in the store. Okay. And class was scheduled to go from 12 to 1:30. You're okay on time. Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then castor oil. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Tanya. Oh my God, how can I forget that? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I should have looked at the chat sooner. So the active ingredient in Rat Magic is castor oil. So it really does the trick and keeps them away. It really repels. And there's other active ingredients in as well. I should have them in my mind, but you can tell my mind was packed full today. So thank you, everybody. And I'm going to check, make sure I didn't miss any of the questions. There's any more questions and answers. It looks like I got them all. Yeah. So the ones that are left are just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I got another thank you. So thank you all. You're the best. You're the best. And it is 21 after. So bye.